Reggie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to another one of my live streams. So we have some announcements that we are going to make today, and I think at least one of these things is big, but at the end of the day, you guys will have to make up your own minds whether this is a big announcement or a little announcement, but my hope is that you guys will consider this a big announcement. I want to give it a little bit of time for some additional people to jump into the room before we get into things, and so maybe I'll say hello to some folks here in the room that have joined the chat. Maybe we'll unbox something while we wait, and then maybe we'll jump into the announcement, and hopefully that will be okay with folks. So we have a couple of people here so far. Comic Books NYC is in the house. He says, I'm bringing the heat with the announcements. We shall see, brother. Again, I mean, I think that some of this stuff is pretty cool, but at the end of the day, you know, you guys are going to make up your minds whether some of the stuff that I'm talking about is significant or not, you know? So Comic Books NYC is here. From heroes to icons is here. He says, first time on time. Welcome to the chat, brother. It is good to see you. I have your box actually sitting over here to the side of me. I may actually hold off opening it until maybe tomorrow or the day after. I have been hit with a lot of work as of late, and so I'm kind of like off track on a couple of things, kind of falling behind on some things. So we'll see how this goes. But I do actually want to unbox something while we're waiting for some additional people to get here, and then we'll make the announcement. So if you guys remember, a couple of months ago, I started a project in which I sent around some books, some sketch cover variants to a few people on YouTube. Basically, YouTubers that I watch, that interact with me here on my channel. I actually sent out to these individuals some sketch variants, and they literally went from person to person to person, from one side of the country to the other side, sometimes backtracking, but there was actually a rhythm to a lot of the stuff that I was doing. And I just thought it was a cool project to actually be able to reach out and to touch some fellow YouTubers who I may never actually meet in person, but through this project, we all were able to connect. And what was cool about it is that I've actually not seen the books since they left my house. And I think I started this maybe September, I think it was like September, maybe October. And we started with Matt, aka Thanatos, because he's a buddy, and they just kind of went from there. And I have not seen the books. I have no clue what they look like. I've heard a lot of great thoughts about how the books look, but they have finally arrived. The books came back, I think it was today, in fact. And what's crazy is that I sent out a single Gemini shipper with 2 books in it. And what has come back is something a lot larger than a Gemini shipper. So I'm not quite sure what's in here, what's been added, but I know at least 2 sketch variants are in here. So I'm going to unbox these things, get a look at them for the first time, and give you guys a look at them for the first time. Now, what's cool about this is my plan with these 2 books is actually to get the books slabbed. And I'm going to keep 1 book for myself, and I'm actually going to find a way, and I don't quite know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to find a way to give the other book back to somebody in the community. And we'll do it in a way where everybody can participate, whether you were, you know, someone that signed the book or not, or you didn't sign the book. Everybody will have an opportunity to actually, hopefully, get this book. So let's unbox this thing. And as I do so, I want to give a huge shout out to the folks that participated in this project. Before turning my camera on, I actually didn't find my list of all the names of all the folks that participated, so I'm sure that I'm going to forget someone, and I'm going to apologize now for that. There is a lot of stuff in here. I don't know. This is a lot of stuff. I sent 2 books out, and this is a lot more than 2. So let's see what's in here. This is going to be interesting. And again, like I said, for those that have just come into the chat, I have not seen these two sketch variants since they left my house back in September or October. So we have a lot more people here. Quick hellos to TJ Watson is in the house, Randy Rattlesnake, Comic Book McD. How you doing, brother? Good videos as of late. I Love Signed Comics is here. Chris Bennett is in the house. Congrats on that first Silver Age book. DS Comics is here. HME3 is here. And I've already said hello to a couple of people at the top. Jam Sessions is in the house. Congrats on your win earlier today in RB3's contest. Gorilla Grodd is here. Candy Grandman is in the house. Closet Geek, how you doing, brother? It's good to see you. Omega Comics is here. Los is in the house. And John's Comics with Kids. And Caleb is here. No, it is actually not... It is not TJ. It is not anything from TJ. This is actually, if you remember, I did that, what we called a community project, where I had the two sketch variants that I sent out across the country, had it signed by some fellow YouTubers that volunteered to participate, and sent it out, and they finally come back. And so some people have put some really cool stuff. I did not think, I guess people have been adding to the books, the bundle as it's been going across the country. And what's interesting is that no one ever said anything that there were more books in here. So I've always been under the impression that it's only been 2 books that have been moving across the country. But I'll show you guys what folks have added in here, which is really cool. There is an X-Men #1 book here, and this is from Backseat Driver. He put a note here: thank you for creating this community project, and thank you for letting me participate. Keep up the great content. That is an awesome gesture from Backseat, who participated in this project. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Here is a Marvel Age 71 book. That's a cool cover right there. That's cool. And this one from DS Comics, who is here in the room. Keep up the great content, and thanks for all you do for the YouTube comic community. Shout out to you, DS Comics. I'm glad that you guys did this, because I know most of you, but you know how it is when you're turning the camera on, you inevitably will forget somebody. Here's a cool New Warriors book. I actually have this book already, but you cannot beat that. I think this is Alex the Comic Hoarder. That looks like his type of painter's tape. So I'm guessing that that's Alex. But Alex the Comic Hoarder participated in this project, so I'm guessing that that is him, despite the fact that there's no note there. Amazing Spider-Man number 700.3 is a variant. This is from Whitewell Comics. And it says, Reggie, thanks for always supporting the community. Alec, Whitewell Comics. Shout out to you, brother, for that. I appreciate it. There's a couple more. Here's a little AOK first appearance of the White Wolf. This is cool. Is a Black Panther number 4. This is from The Boy Who Had 7. He wrote me a nice note here. I'm actually going to read that later. That's a long note, so I'll read that. But it says, P.S. Here's a little AOK first appearance of White Wolf. So shout out to him, and thank you, brother, for participating. That is very cool. Something here inside, and there is actually a major announcement coming up. Trust me, guys. So I will get to it. Oh, wow. That's cool. There's a receipt. Somebody gave me a receipt. Here is a Green Lantern number 1. This is the Sinestro cover. And there's a note here. Congratulations on 1,000 subs and for doing this awesome project for the community. I hear you like original art. This is from Matt. He put a nice little sketch on there. Gotta love him. That's why I sent this stuff to this dude first, because he has an awesome sense of humor. Matt, thank you for this original art. I'm going to hang this up in a place appropriate for art of this quality. So thank you, brother. And of course, he sends a Green Lantern book. Here is one from Jason from Heroes to Icons, who is also in the room. This is, wow, I actually do not have this book. This is really nice. This is the Mighty Thor 705 variant. This is really cool. I actually missed getting this when it was on the shelf. He wrote me a note here. It says, thank you for this opportunity to be part of this great YouTube community project. Just a small AOK to say thanks. Thank you very much, brother. I appreciate that. All right, so some awesome stuff in there from folks, so I definitely appreciate every single person that participated. I'll try to mention some of the other people in just a second. So this is cool. So this is my first look here. This is the Avengers sketch cover variant, and some awesome little sketches and signatures. You can see Bueller there in the middle. Comic Crypto Stock, here's my awful signature in the corner. Alex the Comic Hoarder, Thanos is here. RB3 with the Garfield, that's cool. Tony Sanders is over here with, I think that's Captain Marvel. No surprise there. Can't see who that is, but is that JD? JD is over here. DS Comics, from Heroes to Icons, an awesome Iron Man bust there. Comic Vantage is over here. JoJo from Pop Dot Comics is down here in the corner. A Boy Who Had Seven, Matt is over here. Very, very cool. This is cool. And let's see if there's sketches on the back. And that is, wow, look at that. That is White Whale Comics right there on the back. And I'm not sure who that is below. Who is that? Oh, that's Backseat Driver with the little Captain America. Very cool. Very cool stuff. So that's the first book. And again, there are two of them. So I'll show you guys the second book. This one is a Fantastic Four. And this one has a fake cover on it. So you have some of the same signatures here. Bueller, Comic Crypto Stock, JoJo. That is an awesome, wow, White Whale, that's awesome. JD over here in the corner with the little Thanos action. Tony Sanders over here with Captain Marvel, the female version. This is cool. You guys are super talented. We got some more Captain America shield on the back there from a Backseat Driver. And that's an awesome, that is awesome torch. That is awesome. You guys are super talented. So again, the idea is for me to keep one of these and to give one back to the community. Honestly, not sure which one I want because they are both very, very nice. These things are awesome. So thank you guys for participating. Some other people, I think I mentioned just about everybody as I read the names or read off the books that they sent. But shout out, if I forgot you, I definitely apologize. I will try to give everybody a mention in the notes section in just a few moments when I upload the video. But I want to thank you guys for participating in this project. It was fun. I actually enjoyed the interaction that I had with everybody behind the scenes as I kind of moved the books across the country. And, you know, everybody incurred a little bit of cost for this thing because, you know, if you're shipping that many books, right, from person to person, there's some cost involved in that. And so I want to thank you guys for absorbing those costs. Thank you for participating. For me, this was fun to be able to interact with you guys. And like I said, one of these books will be going back to the community as a thank you to everybody out there for making this YouTube community such an awesome place to be a part of. So we got some other people in here. Some DS Comics says there are some good artists in the community. Jam Session says White Whale is talented. Yes, he is. I mean, every single person that sketched on there is more talented than me, to be honest, because I can't draw to save my life. Jax says some really nice sketches. Well done. Perry Comics is in the house. How you doing? Thank you, Randy. We started this thing a long time ago, man. It seems like forever and ago. Candy Grant, man, that is actually one of the thoughts that I had, is to integrate it into trivia night as like a grand prize. But I just need to give a little bit more thought to that. But that was actually one of the thoughts that I had. And my goal for the next trivia night is to try to do it, if I can, like earlier in the day, during the holiday season, maybe when people are off from work. That way more people can participate. And then I also want to try to be able to offer some things up internationally as well. So I need to give more thought to that. But everything that you're saying is basically where my head is right now. So Marvel Joe 67, how you doing, brother? Gorilla says Green Lantern 1 is so hard to find. Make sure you keep it, brother. I actually have two. Are you talking about the Sinestro is hard to find, or are you talking about Green Lantern in general? Because I have Green Lantern 1, the regular cover, and now I have the Sinestro. If you need a copy, reach out to Matt, because I think Matt has like 20 of every cover. I think he did a video where he talked about going overboard on ordering these, so he may have a ton of them. So Chris says, I've asked again, where's Moon Knight? Yeah, so you may want to reach out to him to see, because I think he picked up a lot of those things actually. All right, so we have a healthy number of people here in the room. With that last thing, I was just kind of killing a little bit of time so that we could get to the point where we make this announcement. So Gorilla got, that's like $100 book. Really? Really? I did not know that. Okay, that's good to know. In fact, wait a minute, let's just be clear. This book right here, is it $100 because of the sketch on the back, the quality of the sketch, or is it just this? All right, Barry's getting on me. He's telling me to move on. All right, so a little bit of preamble, because you guys know I need to do some preamble, some setup, right? So over the last several, probably weeks and probably months, I've been spending a lot of time talking about grading companies. I've been talking about CGC, I've been talking about CBCS and PGX, and we've been having this discussion around what they do well, what they could do better, right? Just talking about the pros and cons, because each of these companies has its pros and cons. They have their strengths, they have their weaknesses, they have their things that they could do better, right? And so we've been having, I think, a relatively healthy dialogue, right? Sometimes sarcastically and sometimes poking fun at these various companies, but we've been having a dialogue about grading companies, and we've been asking and talking about what is it that we really need from a grading company, right? As we think about this, we don't need perfection per se. There are a lot of things that are nice to have, and there are things that we think we really deserve as consumers and as collectors. And we've had several dialogues about this. And if you haven't seen those videos, I would encourage you to go back and watch those videos, because there's some good stuff, some good content in those videos. Not just from me talking, but from the dialogue that we've been having together and amongst ourselves. So as I was making those videos, someone reached out to me and indicated that they had a desire to start a third-party grading company and asked me for some assistance. And so behind the scenes for the last probably maybe month and a half, maybe 2 months, I've been providing some insight and some guidance to someone that has been trying to start a third-party grading company. And I've been offering insight on pricing, on strategy, on cases, etc., etc. And so I am here today to announce that there is a new third-party grading company that is coming into the market. And the grading company is called Expert Grading Services. And the website is egscomicsgrading.com. And their Instagram is egscomics. So head over when you get a chance, check out their site, check out their Instagram. But they are announcing through this channel today that they are now coming to the market. Now, what I want to do is they have sent me some books that are slabbed, and I want to talk about the slabs, I want to talk about the services that they offer, and I want to talk about the prices. And then I also want to kind of talk about some of the things that you guys are mentioning in the chat, so bear with me before I get to that. But EGS is now coming into the market, and they are trying to do things a little bit differently. They have, through this channel, through the dialogue that we've been having, identified some things that are important, right? And what they've kind of identified is that transparency is extremely important in terms of how grades are determined and what qualifies for a particular grade. So I think when you go to their website, you'll actually be able to find some information that highlights the fact that they actually use the Overstreet grading criteria for comics. And I think that if you look, there's some details on there as to what constitutes a 9.8 and what constitutes a 7.0, for example. And I'm pretty confident that if you have questions about things, they're actually going to be able to answer those questions for you clearly and I think in a really timely manner. So a couple of things. They are doing the Overstreet grading criteria. They are looking at an average 14-day turnaround time. And I think that is from the time that they receive the book, there is a 14-day turnaround time to have that book brought in, evaluated, graded, encapsulated, and sent back out to you. They are offering UV protection through the case. And so I don't know if I would put my book directly in sunlight, but they are basically saying that their case offers some pretty awesome UV protection, which is something that people have kind of spoken about. The other thing is that they are offering not just graded encapsulation, but they are offering raw raw grading as well. And to my knowledge, I think CBCS is the only company that offers that. So these guys are now offering an alternative to have your books graded, but not encapsulated. And if you remember back to some of those discussions that we've been having, people have said, I don't want to get my book encapsulated, but I wouldn't mind having it graded. I don't know if I just want to go to CBCS because the turnaround time is awful, but I still want to get my book graded and keep it raw. I want to be able to access my book if I choose to, but I want a little bit of protection. So these guys have kind of sort of come up with some solutions that speak to the things that you guys have said that you actually need from a third-party grading service. Now, what's important about all of this, and I say this about not just about this, but about anything we talk about, you have to do your own research. You have to do your own research and kick the tires and evaluate whether this is a company that you want to do business with. And you owe it to yourself to ask some questions, send some emails, make some phone calls, ask your questions, and determine for yourself whether this is something that you want to participate in. The way I see it is that I've spent a lot of time talking about how we need competition in the marketplace, because I personally think that competition is good, right? I think competition is good for the consumer. It is good for the collector. It keeps prices low. It keeps companies somewhat honest, right? Because they have to compete with one another. It gives us options. And so from my perspective, I kind of have to put my money where my mouth is, right? I can't say that I support all of these because at the end of the day, I want all grading companies to survive. Right? No matter whether I use their services or not, I want all grading companies to survive, and I want additional competition because I think that that gives me choice and options as a consumer. So I can't necessarily say that and at the same time not support what EGS is trying to do, right? So I am going to be bundling up some books. I'm going to have them pressed and cleaned, and I'm going to have them sent to EGS for encapsulation. That is a decision that I am making, and what you'll have to ask yourself is, do you want to do that same thing? All right. So let me get caught up with the chat, and then I am actually going to jump into the showing you guys what these books look like and talking about the prices. Somebody said something about my teeth. And I think there's a comment here about there being a lot of promises for a startup. Yes, and the question is, can they live up to that expectation? Right, that is something that we are going to have to test out and decide for ourselves. Chris, what are you talking about my teeth for? Vox, how you doing? It is good to see you. White Will says he actually has books out for grading with them right now. They actually don't do cleaning and pressing, which is why I'm going to use a third party to have my books cleaned and pressed and then sent over to them. And then I'm actually going to walk through some of the prices right now. All right. So let's talk a little bit about this. So they actually offer, I think, 3 basic services, right? As I see it, there is a basic raw grading service, and that costs $10. That is basically where they will take your book in, they will evaluate your book, they will grade it, they will put it in a Mylar, and they will kind of seal it up, and then they will send it back to you. They're not going to do any restoration checks or any of that other kind of stuff. They are simply evaluating how that book looks and assigning a grade to it, and they are sending it back to you. And so here's an example of what that basic raw grading service for $10 looks like. Here is a book that has been graded, and here is the certificate on the back side where they are actually putting in the name of the book, the date that it was reviewed, the grade that it received, and also some grader's notes, if you will, right? No restoration check or grader's notes on raw tier services. This is basically the note, and it is also signed and numbered. And so this is essentially an 8.0 graded book that was done by EGS. And again, this is a $10 option. And you can see on the back side here that it is sealed up the same way that CBCS actually seals theirs with a little bit of seal. And it says EGS raw grade. So there you go. That is the first option to have a book graded. And I think there's like a backing board, clear backing board inside of here that gives it a little bit of rigidity, which I think is actually a great comment here. So Comic Books NYC says CBCS does raw grading as well. They do. They are I think the only other grading company out there besides EGS that does raw grading. But I'm certain that people can talk to you about their turnaround time. White Whale's here in the room, and I'm sure he can actually give you some insight into that. Now, From Heroes to Icons says, no, thank you for that. Now, here's why I think that that's a good option, because there are many people that want to just have their book graded. They don't necessarily want it encapsulated. They want the option to access it. So I'm kind of sort of like From Heroes to Icons. That's not necessarily my thing. But again, I think that what this company is trying to do is to listen to the community and actually respond. And I should probably mention that this person, the owner of this company, is actually a member of this community. You have interacted with him in my channel, in the chats. You have interacted with him. He has been part of this. He is a collector, and he is also the owner of this company. And so he's participated in many of these discussions and dialogues that we've actually had. All right, so that is the basic raw grading service for $10, no restoration, but it is a mylar that they put the book in. The next option for a book is what they call the Choice Raw Grading Service. This is just like the regular raw, right? So there is no restoration checks. There are no grader's notes. It is a straight grade. They offer to upgrade this book from a MyLite. They will actually put it in a slab. And so here is one of the slabs that they actually put it in, and the price for this is actually $20, right? So to get a slab version of that same book, it will basically run you 20 bucks. And so this is essentially what the case looks like. And the case for this thing is actually, it is about the same size as a CBCS slab. And it is maybe a little bit smaller than a CBCS slab, but a little bit bigger than a CGC slab. And it is definitely thinner. You can see the profile of this thing is relatively thin. It is indeed a flat case. And now what's great about this Choice Raw Grading Service is that this one, just like the raw, gives you the ability to actually access the book. Right? So again, it is actually in an inner whale, and it has a clear backing board, but you have the ability to actually, without damaging the case, you can actually take the book out, right? Because again, what people have said is, I want my book graded, I want to have some protection, but I want to be able to touch my book if I want to, right? And so that's why that service is being offered, again, for 20 bucks. Dre Boogie is in the house. And so the next level of service, and I'll show you what this actually, I'll open this up for you if you guys are interested in that. I'll try to pop it open for you. The next level of service is the Expert Certified. And this is your basic encapsulation, right? This is your standard. I'm going to look at the book. I'm going to check it for restore. I'm going to check it for all those things that need to be checked for. And then I'm going to encapsulate it and give it a grade, right? And this is basically, and the price for this depends upon the speed at which you want the book graded. So you can do anywhere from 14 days, which is standard, to business days, to 14 days. You can do 14 days. You could do, let me check my notes here to make sure I get this right. You can do 14 days. You can do 7 business days, or you can do 3 to 5 business days. And as you go from 14 days to 7 days to 3 to 5, 7 days, of course, the price goes up. For a modern book at 14 days, your price is $25. Silver Age, Golden Age, For 14 days, it is $30, and the price goes up as you cut down the turnaround time. So again, check the website for some of those details, but this is essentially what the slabbed book actually looks like. This is a expert certified modern book. This is essentially what it looks like. There is an inner well that holds this thing in place. There's a backing board that supports it. You have your standard kind of, stuff up here on the label, which includes with this book, Todd McFarlane, story, art, and cover, lizard appearance. You have your regular stuff. You can see all that good stuff up there, right? And then you can see your grade and all that good stuff. On the back side are some additional details, which is the website for the company. And they also call out some awesome things on the back. Honesty, integrity, security, and efficiency. That is essentially the motto of expert grading service. You can see that right there, all right? And so what also comes with this, and I didn't have these separated out, what they actually do is they actually send you with the book a certificate of authenticity. And what this says on the certificate is it gives you the name and the number of the book, the date of encapsulation, the grade that the book received, and it also provides you with some grader's notes as well. So if you need that information, all of that information is actually there on the certificate of authenticity, and I think it is free grader's notes with everything. The other thing I'll mention is that there is actually no subscription fee either. So, CGC is what, 145 bucks or something like that. It's some kind of discount that they're offering right now if you do auto renewal, but there is no fee associated with EGS. So on this tier of expert certified, they also have signature series books as well. And here's what the signature series book looks like. You basically have, your standard yellow label up here. This is Daredevil Man Without Fear #1 from 1993. This one is actually signed by John Romita Jr. and you can see his signature right there. But this is the slabbed version of the signature series, and it also comes with its own certificate of authenticity with something that indicates who actually signs it. And then this particular book, it actually has a lot of grader's notes to explain why that book was actually a 9.4 versus what it potentially could have been had it not had those defects. So let me get caught up with the chat and see what people are saying here. What about signatures? Yeah, so they do signature verification, and they also do signature series books as well. And again, you may have to go to the website to read a little bit more about that, but they absolutely do witness and also verify signatures. I don't know if they're going to the major cons. Comic Books NYC, that's actually a very good question for them. My guess is that they are not going to be going to the major cons because it's a relatively small organization. So that is my assumption, that they're not going to be doing a lot of that. But again, I think that that's a wonderful question to ask these guys and see how quickly they respond and how they respond to you. Yes, and I think that verify is after the fact signature. So they do witness if they're there, or they can do after the fact. Do they need any investors? I have some money that I'm looking to invest. Chris, I would definitely send these guys a message and see what they have to say about that. I honestly don't know. My involvement with them, and Whitewell has been involved as well, is really just been about giving these guys some insight on like what we see and what we think the market will react to. And what I've seen from Tony is a certain amount of responsiveness, right? I think he acknowledges that things aren't perfect, that he can't be everything to everyone all at once, but I think he has a genuine desire to do a good job. And I think a genuine desire to give back to the community in the form of a reputable third party or grading company. But again, I think these are things that you guys are going to have to investigate the same way you guys investigate CGC and CBCS and PGX. I think you scrutinize, you investigate, and you make up your mind about this company as well. So Wolverine Collector, welcome to the chat. Is that Vu Hong? How you doing, brother? It's good to see you. Perry says he thinks he'll give them a shot, shoot a raw grade over. Brother, that's what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to set aside a couple of books. I'm going to send them over, and I'm going to see what happens, and I'll evaluate them based upon how they perform with those books. You know, not necessarily the grades that the books get, because I don't know that that's a fair evaluation, but how they handle the books, the responsiveness, the turnaround time, all of that stuff is probably what I'm going to evaluate versus, you know, did they give me a 9.8 because I thought I deserved one, you know? So just something to kind of keep in mind. Candygram Man, I believe that they are a private company. I misspoke there. I believe that they are a private company, but again, I don't necessarily get into, those details. I would definitely message Anthony and have a conversation. I think he has his telephone number on the website as well, so you guys can definitely just reach out to him to kind of have a conversation with him. So Clement, so for those that are just getting here to the chat, the quick update is that a new grading company has come to the market, and that grading company is Expert Grading Services. Their website is egscomicsgrading.com. So if you get a chance, go over and check these guys out. Uh-oh, I think we're having some technical difficulties here. The audio is working. Jilly Jill, how you doing, Jilly Jill? Let me hit the refresh and we'll see whether it's working. Sound is good, but you can't see me. Okay. Oh, I'm still frozen, it should say. All right, hold on. Let's see. We are having some major technical difficulties. Not what you want to have happen, right? All right, I don't know what we can do about this. We may have to restart this thing.